Hello everyone, I am Clyde and I will be featuring my 5 best decks and 5 best non-X decks for those unlucky people out there for the new Mythical Island expansion in Pokemon Pocket.
Let's go!
I'll start it off with Celebi Serperion, the new rising superstar of Mythical Island. Everyone and their mom is playing this deck, so let's get on. What makes it so good? It has infinite damage potential. So Celebi has an attack called Powerful Bloom. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each heads. For every energy in there, you will get to hit 50 damage, but you need to flip a coin first. What makes it even better is the card called Serperior. It can double the energy of any grass energy Pokemon. So if you have like 4 energy per Celebi, it will become 8 energy and you get to flip 8 coins for 100 damage, assuming you get heads all the time. And you can also check my quick short about it in my shorts. Other benefit is it's very tanky because of Erica and the potions and a lot of healing. Celebi is a strong standalone, doesn't even need Superior. Some people are running Lilligant, and its cons is notably a lot of decks can reach the 130 HP threshold, so especially the fire type where they will gain 20 more damage against this deck, so notably stuff like Arcanine, Flareon, and yeah, as long as they can get past that 130 HP damage, it will be very hard for this deck because you can't out-heal it or anything. Although the list that I'm presenting here is the superior one, I cook another one with Executor and Mew, so you will return the damage back to them. And yeah, so I think Mew is a good addition to this deck. I'll show you a quick glance of what I cook. Then there's the alternatives of, like I mentioned, Lilligant and the Executor package with also the new Executor, since it can take advantage of Serperior if you're running it because of its hefty 4 energy cost, and definitely Mew. This is looking like one of the best decks. It may not beat the top 3 decks at the moment, Pikachu, Charizard, and Mewtwo, but it has some potential and it's very fun. I also have a graphic guide about it that I just recently posted, so check that out if you want to see more info about it. Next, we have Starmie Vaporeon. So all the Vaporeon lovers out there are going crazy right now. At first, I thought it was only able to transfer 1 energy, but when I saw it can transfer all of the energy, that is bonkers, that is crazy. So the new Vaporeon with its ability Wash Out. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from one of your bench water Pokemon to your active water Pokemon. This is highly specific, so you can only do it on a water Pokemon, just like Misty. Okay, so this is looking like a really strong deck with 0 retreat cost of Starmie. You can just keep retreating Starmie, then transferring its energy to one of your Pokemon that will be switched out, like Articuno. So you can keep doing this while transferring energy again and again, making it hard for your enemy to even damage your Pokemon. Misty will even be more broken now since you can transfer excess energy. Chip damage from the opponent becomes irrelevant. One of the weaknesses of this deck is if they are able to overcome that 140 HP threshold with a huge attack, like something like Mewtwo, you will have a hard time because you can't use Vaporeon's ability anymore. So I included Leaf in the list because you will be retreating a lot to take advantage of Vaporeon's ability. As for the alternatives, I included Gyarados, Magikarp, and I think the Gyarados X is a good fit in a Vaporeon build since you can easily gain the energy needed even if it's the 40 cost. The Articuno non-X seems also decent. It's a decent tank, especially if you don't want to run Articuno X. Then we have the Tentacruel, and I think it's a decent alternative if you don't have Starmie or Articuno. And the route 2 retreat costs can be mitigated by Leaf. Then we have Blastoise X, which benefits from the transferring energy of Vaporeon to easily pump the Hydro Bazooka. So yeah, this is looking like a really good deck. One of the best decks at the moment. A lot of fun transferring energy from Vaporeon. Then we have Pikachu Raichu. I know I have to include this list because this is one of the best decks before this expansion, and it's looking like it is still one of the best decks. It can deal a high 90 damage from Pikachu X with only just 2 energy. deal burst damage with Raichu using LT Surge from retreated electric Pokemon, so it will always fear 140 damage coming in. Then the new Dedenne helps stall, especially if they don't draw Pikachu X or Zapdos. And Zapdos is also a good finisher with its Thundering Hurricane and can also tank hits. Pikachu and Raichu will definitely be one of the best decks of today. For the alternatives, I will be featuring the commonly used cards, the Magnemite Magneton with its energy gain, very helpful for LT Surge. Blitzkill Substrika is one of the best electric Pokemon that you can use since it can snipe opponents' Pokemon that retreated, and Voltorb Electrode also for its free retreat cost, so you can easily charge Pikachu X at the back, then retreat with Electrode. Next, we have Mewtwo. Yes, another meta deck again, but I'm featuring the best decks, guys, so I have to show the Mewtwo. And boy, Mewtwo gets even stronger. The new Mew X and its attack, Genome Hacking, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So this counters a lot of high damage threats from the opponent, notably Charizard, since Charizard beats Mewtwo, so Mew X can now counter it, and Mew X can counter the mirror, so you can use a 3 energy genome hacking against the 4 energy side drive. So you definitely need to include Mew X in your deck now if you ever want to counter Mewtwo. And the new Mythical Slab is insanely good, letting you draw all the Gardevoir line from Kirlia, Gardevoir, especially if you're just missing Gardevoir, and just keep rolling. Just keep reusing side drive again and again. Mythical Slab will definitely be included in future Mewtwo decks, and it will be a 2-off. And then we also have Budding Expeditioner to help Mew X bounce to your hand again and again, and then bring Mewtwo forward, so you can just keep retreating. Mew X or bouncing it, then use Mewtwo, then retreat Mewtwo, use Mew X again. It's kind of like Koga Weezing. So yeah, Mewtwo X is looking disgustingly good, and I'm really scared of this deck. It will be stopped soon. We have the old non-X Mewtwo, which is the one that Mew X replaced, and it can still be used, especially if you are missing Mew X, of course. Then we have Jinx, just in case you're missing probably another Mewtwo X. So yep, this is one of the best decks, guys. And now Arcanine Mew. So I didn't feature Charizard here because I think Charizard can be a little bit slow now and can be countered by Mew. We are using Arcanine Mew. It's a deck I brewed myself. Arcanine X stops the new Celebi X that you are running against in every game, and we are running 2 Mew X to counter the high damage threat. So Arcanine X runs into the problem of not being able to deal the high damage threats of the opponents. Mew X will be the one that solves that, and with Budding Expeditioner you can easily retreat it and while also healing, and then bring Moltres or Arcanine to the board while dealing damage. This is faster and more consistent than Charizard, at least. I think the only bad thing about it is starting off with Growlite. For the alternatives, I'll be including Charizard in case you want to run Charizard, of course. Which I still think Charizard is really good, but not as good as from the last set. Then just Old Ember and Aerodactyl in case you want more options on dealing against the board, or you're missing Mew X, of course. And now I'll be featuring the top 5 non-X decks, especially for our unlucky folks out there. I'm sorry about it, especially if you didn't get your Celebi and stuff. So yeah, I will be featuring one of the best and can compete against the top 3 in my opinion. The Ninetales Blaine, it became even stronger with the new Ponyta and Rapidash. Since it's now Rising Lunge 40 damage, flip a coin, if heads, this attack does 60 more damage. That is insane. It's not even double. It's plus 60 more damage. So you're dealing 100 damage and 30 more with Blaine. So yeah, Rapidash, the new Rapidash is looking good. It's one of the best decks to run against the Celebi overgrowth population that's happening right now, and it's the cheapest, strongest deck. I played this deck a lot and it doesn't disappoint. It's fast, aggressive, outpacing a lot of decks, especially the greedy ones. And then it also counters Mew X. So yeah, one of the best decks. The only con is with a max HP of only 100 for all of your Pokemon, you are prone to being one-shot by a lot of your opponents. You have to keep putting pressure so you won't be put in that spot, and you need to finish the game really fast. For the alternatives, I didn't feature the new Magmar because I think it's not really good, and you'd rather run the old Magmar instead. Or Hitmore, it's a decent alternative if you don't like Farfetch. But I still like Farfetch more. The 40 damage can get past a lot of thresholds, but Hitmore is also good. Then we have Weezing Arbok, probably the next best non-X deck after Ninetales Blaine. It's good, reliable, and consistent. It does the job very well, and it got a new buff with the new coughing, so you can easily remove the other coughing from your deck and just draw Ekans, so you can easily set up your win condition. And if you're new to the deck, Koga is able to return Weezing back to the hand again and again, so the opponent is not getting any point while you are putting pressure and getting points. It gets harder in the late game when the opponent can deal more than 110 damage. If they can get past Weezing, you're in for a bad time already because Arbok may not be able to deal with it. One of the alternatives is the new Celebi with 2 energy Venus Shock, 70 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 50 more damage. So it's kinda like Nuke, but 1 less energy, although this is a stage 2 evolution, so it's much harder to build, and you can't run Koga with it. So I still like Magmar, but if you want to play with Scolipede, this is the best deck you can test it around. That's it for Weezing Arbok. Then I have Alakazam Greninja. There's a lot of Alakazam decks out there, especially if you check my graphic guide about it. And I'll just be featuring one of my favorite, which is the Greninja Hybrid. And now featuring the new Sigalip. So it will be replacing Meowth or Kangaskhan. I think I would prefer the new Sigalip because the 80 HP can be decent enough while you are drawing cards and getting all of your stage 2 evolutions fast, especially Greninja, so it can easily put pressure right away. So the con is you can get bad hands because of 2 stage 2 evolutions and limited support cards. The alternatives is Kangaskhan, of course, and the new Dradigan. I like the card as a tank because you don't even need to put energy on it, and it will just deal damage by returning the damage to your opponent. It's bad that way. It may be worse than Kangaskhan that way because Dradigan may have its merits. And Mew X. I'll be including Mew X because it can tank. It can counter a lot of high damage threats from the opponent, so in case you can't draw Alakazam right away. But that's your preference. I think it can fit in the deck, knowing it's also colorless energy, so it doesn't matter if you get water or psychic. I'll now be featuring the new Marshadow. I'll be including it with primeape. It has a high damage. You can get 100 with Marshadow if one of your Pokemon die, and there are only 1 point each, so you can proc revenge again and again. And then the only bad thing about it is it's lacking more than 100 damage, so you may have a hard time finishing enemies unless you can proc Marshadow, but that's okay. I think with Primeape's high damage of 100, you can easily bypass that. If you have Marowak X, I prefer that than Dugtrio. So you may be wondering why I included Diglett Dugtrio instead of Sandslash. I prefer Dugtrio for now because of the 1 energy, since Primeape and Marshadow require 2 energy, so you may have a hard time gaining energy through all of these Pokemon, especially Marshadow. You need the 2 energy right away. So yeah, Dugtrio may be the better fit for now instead of Sandslash, but feel free to try Sandslash too. And for the alternatives, I think Marowak X Cubone might be better, but I'm not sure because you are setting up revenge some of the time, but Marowak X will still be better. Then I'm including the new Aerodactyl X and Old Ember. So basically, Aerodactyl X can help you not let your opponent's Pokemon evolve, and the 80 damage is also decent for putting enough pressure. And my favorite boy, Dragonite. So this will be the final deck that I'll be featuring. I am thinking of any non-X decks that are just as good. Dragonite is the only thing that comes close. Hey, I'm not saying Dragonite is bad, okay? This is my boy. So it is incredibly fun. using Draco Meteor, setting up your Dragonite while dealing a ton of damage in the late game, killing most of your opponent's Pokemon. I'm using the Articuno version with Misty, so you have a high roll potential with Articuno, so you can put pressure while it acts as a tank. I'm also including the new Dradigon, so you don't need to put energy for Dradigon and Kangaskhan as a tank while all setting up for Dragonite. The con is if you are a Dragonite player, you already know this, but it is painstakingly slow, so it takes a lot of time to gain energy for Dragonite. And not to mention that Draco Meteor requires one water and one electric. Draco Meteor is also random and can overkill enemies, so it is not that reliable in the late game. You can't bring Dragonite out and expect to win, but are most likely winning most of the time. 160 HP is hard to overcome. For the alternatives, I think putting the Mew X Budding Expeditioner engine can be good. So it's kind of like the Koga Weezing build, but instead we're running Mew X, so you can return Mew X. Although it's better if you run two of Mew X, so you can return Mew X while also putting another tank again. I think it's looking like a really fun deck. I'm not just including it in the main deck because this is the non-X build. And then we have Snom and Frostmoth in case you don't want Articuno. The sleep is always good, especially if you want to stall for the long game and charging up Dragonite. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video and found a new deck to play. Let me know your thoughts or decks in the comments. I am Clyde and I also create graphic guides for my socials, so check them out. I will definitely post more video content soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.